What's up, guys? So, um, there's a lot of the rumor mill is really heating up today. More talk of September 30th. The big news is gonna drop, and somebody sent me a link to Mike Straw from Insider Gaming. So we're gonna listen to what he has to say and see exactly what a lot of this rumor is based on. Obviously, talking about NASCAR video games and motorsport games and what's going to happen. I did check it out already. So I'm going to play some of it and then we'll take it from there and see what, I'll talk about my thoughts on it.
What I'm being told is that the landscape of NASCAR video games is changing. And I know people are leaving questions, and I'll get to questions shortly. At the end of these, I'll do Q&As. I'm still trying to figure out the format when I'm doing them solo. We'll obviously have guests for future episodes and things like that of Let's Talk Games. But this is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that NASCAR is being set to announce that that there will be other NASCAR games in development. Now, I can't confirm. I do not know. I'm hearing some studios, but I can't confirm any of them. No one has said yes or no to the specific studios when asked about who will be making NASCAR games. But the NASCAR exclusivity license between NASCAR and Motorsport Games is all but dead.
Okay. As I said, I did already hear what he had to say. I'm going to play more, but there isn't as much information as I thought there would be. But as he said, it's really September 30th. I think that's when NASCAR is going to come out with details. They might make a joint announcement with some other studio or studios, right? So as you heard Mike Strauss explain there, the main thing that he's hearing, right? He didn't get a lot of info. But the one thing that seems to be clear is that the exclusivity that Motorsport Games has had up to this point is going to be over. Okay? And the reason, if you're wondering, well, why not just come out and announce this stuff? Why September 30th and blah, blah, blah? Well, it could be because they haven't finalized everything, right? There's a lot of moving parts just involved in wrestling that, exclusivity away from Motorsport Games. Who knows what went into that in terms of negotiations, what have you. I'm just trying to figure out what to make of this. One thing I am confident in, and a lot of other people seem to be as well. There are people that say they know what's happening, but they can't reveal it for whatever reason. But September 30th, it does look like a whole new avenue is going to open for NASCAR video games. Whether somebody is already signing a deal with NASCAR to have permission to make games, right? But like I said, what he mentioned here is that the exclusivity is dead. And he mentioned something about multiple games. He didn't say the word multiple, but he said it in plural. So, I'm hoping, right? The big thing here for me isn't so much that Motorsport Games might be over, right? But he's really specific about the exclusivity part of it, which means maybe Motorsport Games still moves forward making a NASCAR game of their own, like their version, which honestly, as terrible of a company as they've been, that wouldn't bother me at all. My thing is the exclusivity, right? So if they want to make a game, it's not going to stop someone else from making a game. That's what this sounds like to me. And because he's, using a plural to explain it, the rumor seems to be that we're not just talking about one game. It could also mean they're going to make some announcement and then the multiple things is okay. The exclusivity is over, and other people are gonna make the game, and there's also NASCAR Rush, which we already know about. It's that arcade kid style game. It could be that, right? I'm not saying it is, but I have to put that out there as a possibility because I don't want people to get they're carried away with expectations, right? And because, like I said, this is what I'm getting from from Mike Straw is exclusivity is over. Is he just talking about for Motorsport Games or just in general? So that is where what I'm starting to grasp. And it just looks like maybe they learned, maybe NASCAR learned, and maybe the exclusivity thing is not going to be a thing, and they're just going to be like, who wants to make a game, make it, and just have competition amongst multiple people. If multiple people end up being interested, right? And like I said, if Motorsport Games wants to continue making games, I don't give a shit, right? I don't see that happening because exclusivity is the only thing they've had up to this point to dangle as a carrot, in front of investors. Like, we're the only ones who can make the game. So, and if they don't have that exclusivity, what investor in their right mind would ever look at Motorsport Games when they'll say, you don't even have exclusivity, you haven't shown you can make a game that's even something that works, much less something people want, and then you're gonna have open competition with other. Nah, I'm out. That's gonna be the thought process for an investor. So anyway, let's hear what else Mike Straw has to say.
I was hearing rumors of a sale of Motorsport Games or a buyout of majority shares of Motorsport Games.
That's a rumor. It could be true. Who knows? But as he said himself, it's a rumor. Somebody did kind of give me a heads up on that, like as a rumor in itself, that they heard maybe Dale Jr., right, who represents really iRacing, was going to lead a hostile takeover. Again, rumors. That's why I don't, if you notice, I don't automatically make a video, right? These rumors have been circulating for a little bit now. I don't want to do a video when there's absolutely nothing concrete. The reason I'm doing this video is because, there's a lot of rumors now. A lot of people are starting to come up and say, I know for a fact something big is happening. I can't reveal everything. It's not just like one or two people. It's like this is starting like a snowball. It's rolling down a hill and it's just getting bigger and bigger. September 30th is still a month and a half away. Are things really not going to leak before then? I mean, you look at Grand Theft Auto 6 every day, there's like 1,000 videos and rumors of leaks, and they're all lies, of course. But the point is, it's very difficult to keep things under wraps. Like, I'm actually surprised at the community, those people who do know something, not revealing what it is. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing or a good thing. I'm just saying I'm surprised, right? In today's day and age. However, I do respect that, especially anyone who considers themselves a journalist, right? I'm not a journalist, but if somebody confided in me and said, here's what's going on, but I can't really reveal it publicly, and I would appreciate if you didn't either, I would respect it. As much as I would want to talk about it right away, I couldn't, you don't throw your sources under the bus, right? Otherwise they'll never come to you again, right? And that's if you're a journalist, right? I'm not a journalist, so, but in either case I would still respect that. But still, I'm just surprised that up to this point a lot of people seem to know more details and are not revealing it. They're all saying the same thing, like September 30th. I can't say anything else. But the important thing is it all seems to be good news, right? So to me, the most obvious thing is obviously, um, yeah, the most obvious thing is obviously, all right, that doesn't sound right. But the most obvious thing to me, judging from all of these rumors and what Mike Straw is saying, is that Motorsport Games is done. It's just a matter of making an official announcement of some kind, or it's either that or they're still gonna do their thing. They're still gonna develop whatever the fuck they claim they're developing, but their exclusivity with NASCAR in particular is not gonna it's not gonna be there. The exclusivity part of it. Um, but yeah,
But I
and like I said, the one thing I heard, and I never made a video on it. I didn't come out and start because it's really not concrete, and that is, yeah, I heard that Dale Jr. was gonna attempt some hostile takeover, which is really just buying the majority of shares and taking over Motorsport Games, but um, there's nothing concrete there, right?
haven't been able to confirm who would have bought them out or where things are going with that. All I do know is that there won't be an exclusive license between NASCAR and Motorsport Games moving forward.
And that's what I'm saying. It doesn't necessarily mean Motorsport Games is dead or that they're never going to make a NASCAR game. That's the thing I want people to understand. And this is just at the moment, right? September 30th comes, they make an announcement. Maybe it is like, hey, Motorsport Games is dead. Somebody bought them out. You know, that still could be true, but I'm just going by the little bit we're hearing as far as, and this is all rumors, right? The exclusivity thing is the most concrete part of it. So that's still important and it's still big news, but I do expect to hear more. Hopefully that means there are other developers who are jumping in the ring and they're saying we're going to make our own game and we're going to, we're interested or something like that. The more the better. I don't want anyone to have exclusivity, and I'm hoping that NASCAR learned their lesson, that maybe they realize now, don't paint yourself into a corner and put all your eggs in one basket with one company, no matter who it is, no matter what their reputation may be. Why lock yourself into a box, right? Just because you can ask for a little bit more for that exclusivity, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to your brand. I think what's best for the brand is to have open competition. And anybody out there that feels like I can make a good NASCAR game and I'm jumping in, and that to me is what's best for NASCAR. And I think that's what's in their best interest. Because exclusivity, who cares, right? Because how much money did they get for their exclusivity deal from Motorsport Games? Unless Motorsport Games gave them a big bag of cash in the beginning, which could have been that kind of deal, like we're going to pay you X amount of dollars and we get exclusivity. It doesn't matter how many copies we sell. Or it could be a more traditional deal where NASCAR gets a share of the game sales, which is probably the more traditional route. So they can ask for a bigger percentage if it's exclusive, as opposed to if it's not exclusive, then you might get a smaller share of game sales. I hope you guys can follow what I'm saying, but
that is going to be ending solely because of the state of Motorsport Games and their NASCAR games and the lack of games. It's been an issue with internal morale. Now, I will say the internal morale since Stephen Hood has taken over as CEO from Dimitri Kosko has been immensely better. immensely better from everyone I've talked to who continues to work with Motorsport Games in some capacity.
I'm happy for the people that are actually working there for that company who's still there. It sucks working under terrible people. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to work under terrible management, and I know what it's like to work under people that you respect, people that you like, people that you can work with, like on a day-to-day basis, and or you feel is their leadership is good. So I'm happy for those people, but I couldn't care less like about the morale. The morale isn't gonna do shit. So yeah, yeah. I
Uh, it seems that Stephen Hood is one since he has come aboard has made it known he wanted to get the company on the right track. The IndyCar game is still moving right along. Those I've talked to who have played it and are playing it, new UI has been implemented in the game. There are bug fixes, like the game is playable. They have been able to get on the track and play it. That is moving right along, but that is the only game that I know for a fact is moving just right along in active development, and I believe that is a game being developed by the Australian studio Motorsport Games.
Now listen to this.
Um, I could be wrong,
When
but
it
I
comes
do
to the
believe
NASCAR game, remember how Motorsport Games told us like a year and a half ago, like we are already underway. We started from scratch. We're abandoning the ignition platform and we're starting from scratch. We're building a whole new game from the ground up. Remember that? That was like a fucking year and a half ago. And we never heard another thing about it. But during a couple of their earnings calls, Dimitri, the fucking liar, DK, right? The nice guy, as Captain Sleeveless likes to say, lies to everybody, and he's like, yeah, we're already underway. We're working on this game. Motorsport Games put out, a word that they were already working on another game, and I've talked about it in several videos, saying, well, supposedly the game was already. It should be several months into the development. Then they came out and announced that they were releasing that DLC for NASCAR Heat 5. So I was always questioning the validity of that whole, yeah, we're working on the next NASCAR game. And I told you guys it's a lie. All of it's a big fucking lie. They're liars. So I'm happy that their morale is better, that the new CEO, he really wants to get things on the right track. But how do you undo the fact that this company openly claimed that they were working on the next NASCAR game? It's been a long time now, and that they started from scratch. And I told you guys that was bullshit. It just didn't make sense to me. There is no
that's
other
fact.
NASCAR
That's the
game
case
as
with
of
that.
yet.
Whereas the NASCAR front,
Listen,
there's nothing happening. Um, there is absolute dead silence on the NASCAR front. I have reached out, and that's the thing. Usually, if there's nothing to it, I'll get a response from NASCAR Motorsport Games telling me, no, that's not true, all this, whatever. With this, everything has been silent. Not even the same sources, the same people who work there that I have gotten comment from multiple times for stories at Insider Gaming, various spokespeople for Motorsport Games are being extremely quiet about what is going on.
because there's nothing going on, and that's what I've been telling people. Um, they lied to people. This They said, oh, they started from scratch. They walked away from the ignition build because that's how bad that game is. That they admitted they couldn't like make it better and build on it. And I've always told you guys the first game of a franchise is the most important because that's the game they're gonna build on top of that, year after year. So if that initial game isn't solid, okay, you've got no chance. They so a company that's willing to lie to people as often as they have, they couldn't lie to people on that. They had to say we're not, like, that's how bad Ignition was. They had to let people know, don't worry, we're not going to continue the NASCAR franchise off of that game. We're starting over. Then later they were like, we're already started. It's already in development. It was all a lie. So I told you guys.
We are a month and a half. There is that September 30th date that
Month and a
everybody's
half.
throwing around in the community. That's a big date. Legally, I cannot talk about why it's a big date, but that will be a big date.
And that's the same thing I'm seeing with a lot of other people. They're saying September 30, it's gonna be big. It's it's legit. It like whatever these people know, it's not a rumor. It's like, okay, there's some kind of deadline or some kind of something, right? And I'm telling you, I'm just shocked it hasn't leaked. But that's fine, right? I'm not trying to nudge people to leak it. I want to know as much as anyone, but it is what it is. It's a month and a half away. We waited this long. People have been like desperate for some news, something positive. We've been waiting for Motorsport Games to be pulled, the life machine to be, somebody to pull the plug on these people. And maybe that's what September 30th does, right? Maybe that's the date that someone pulls the plug, NASCAR, whoever it might be. But I do think it's legit, like that it is good news. I do think, and that's the thing I'm getting from the little bit that Mike Straw is revealing here, the little bit that he's been able to find out, right? The exclusivity is going to be over. So that to me is the most important part of it. Everything else, the chips are going to fall where they fall, right? If I had to guess, I'm thinking iRacing is really the only one out there that has shown interest. Could somebody else come? EA, whoever it is? Sure, it's possible they may jump in and say, hey, I want to make a NASCAR game. But the only developer that has openly made claims to want to go in that direction is iRacing. They bought out Monster Games and they openly made that statement to the public. This was a public statement. It wasn't a rumor. It wasn't a little quote like on Twitter. It was a public statement that they were in the video game business, that they wanted to make games for consoles. They didn't get into detail what games those were. Obviously, World of Outlaws was their first foray into that. But if you thought they bought Monster Games and they're prepping up for consoles just for World of Outlaws and nothing else, then that's crazy. Obviously, they're laying the groundwork because they want to make video games. And the most obvious video game out there is NASCAR. So that's what's always made sense to me, which I try to explain to people, and you still get people. Of course, everybody's favorite lemming, I'm not going to even mention him by name, but telling everybody over and over that EA's coming, it's going to be EA, iRacing doesn't want it, they have an identity. This is how dumb this guy is. They have their own identity. That's the dumbest shit I ever heard. They're not going to make a NASCAR console game because they have an identity already as a service for online racing. You could do both. And why the fuck do you think they're buying Monster Games? Why would they tell people we want to make console video games? They said it. So that's why I'm really... I'll be shocked if it's not iRacing. But it might be iRacing and somebody else, right? It might be multiple people. That would be actually the best of all worlds, that we get more than one person, developer, who steps up and says, we're going to make a NASCAR game. And there's no exclusivity for anybody, and that's the way it's going to be. That would be the best possible news. Um, Obviously, getting exclusivity away from Motorsport Games is great news. But if somebody else, whether it's iRacing or anybody, gets exclusivity, we're gonna. I wouldn't say it's gonna be as bad as Motorsport Games, but you don't want to. Exclusivity kills enthusiasm to make the best possible product. It becomes more about just push whatever you can out there, rush it out the door, collect the money, and then let's monetize. And that's what you don't want. And if you take the exclusivity out of it, now these developers have to push out a better product. Does it guarantee you're going to get a better game? No. But you have a better chance because in the open market, that's how it's supposed to work. If you know you're not the only one who can make the game, you want to push out the best product that you possibly can. So, it does feel like a lot of good news is coming, but I don't want to get carried away, and I think a lot of people are making assumptions, and I'd rather wait. And it may very well turn out that iRacing, and NASCAR make this announcement September 30, they're going to take over and blah, blah, blah. And maybe they bought out, the majority shares of Motorsport Games, and now they can take those assets and do this. Who knows, right? We still have a month and a half to go to wait for this big announcement, but I like what I'm hearing. There's a lot to be excited about. But, that's pretty much it. It's the exclusivity was the big thing that I got out of this. There really isn't much else going on. So that's pretty much it in this video. You guys can check it out yourselves. But yeah, we're finally starting to break through and get some positive news for a change. This community is desperate and they deserve something better, right? And hopefully moving forward we can start to get unified and understand that as consumers, we can't just blindly support these companies financially. Let's hold these people accountable and make them give us something worth your money before you just don't pre-order, right? Can you wait a couple days when a game releases? Like, that kind of thing is going to be good for the community. And it sends a powerful message to developers that you can't just count on people blindly giving you their money when they don't know what they're getting. So, anyway, that's pretty much it. I look forward to your comments later.